So I'd say Black history means to me, both personally and professionally, an opportunity to celebrate the contributions and to showcase the contributions that African Americans have made to the United States. I'd add that it's as important today as it was 99 years ago when Dr. Carter G. Woodson started African American History Week. And he started it because he recognized as a historian that African American history had often been deleted from history texts. And so it's a great opportunity for our contributions to the United States to be highlighted. There are two specific moments in Black history that have inspired me both personally and professionally. The first one would be the appointment of Justice Thurgood Marshall to the United States Supreme Court. Before he was even appointed to the Supreme Court, he was a civil rights litigator for the NAACP. He traveled throughout the South litigating civil rights cases. And then he and his mentor, Charles Hamilton Houston, were the architects of the Brown versus Board of Education decision. And that really inspired me to go to law school. And so that's one moment that was very formative for me. I'd say a second moment that was particularly important to me from Black history was on April 19th, 1963, when Dr. Martin Luther King wrote the letter from Birmingham jail. He was in Birmingham to protest segregation peacefully and nonviolently, and he and his colleagues were imprisoned for their protests. And from the Birmingham jail, he wrote this letter, and one of the famous lines in the letter is that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And that line has always really stuck out to me and really inspired me, and part of my career was spent in public service, and it was in part because of that. You know, it's really important for me to be civically engaged, generally speaking, and we've lived in several different cities, and I think it's important because I've been very fortunate to have positions of leadership, and I do believe that with that type of leadership there are obligations. So part of it is just, I think, generally important to be involved in your community. I think it's doubly important as an African American male in particular for me to be visible to the extent that I can act as a role model for others. I think that's important. I think it's also important in communities where there aren't very many African Americans and where others may not have an opportunity to interact with African Americans. It's a good opportunity for people to see a side of African American life that they might not otherwise have experienced. I would like to leave a legacy of having acted with integrity and empathy. I hope that I can leave the world a better place than I found it. And I hope that I will have passed on my best qualities to my children and that they live their lives with integrity and with empathy.